Hello, and welcome to another edition of Ambient Talkie, a show where we dive into some weird and wacky equipment and wonderful, call it whatever you want music. I'm Andy from Two Round Robins, and I hope you're ready for the end of our Bat Month, this time with some sound design thrown in for good measure. So, last time on the episode we went into the field to record some myotis pieces, but picked up a few other bat species along the way, and this time we shall take some of that material and try to create something interesting out of it. I figured that it'd be a cool idea to try to create a little VST digital instrument using bat echolocation or social calls. But before we dig into that, I think we should cover some really basic elements of bat song or bat call analyses. So let's get right to it. So here we are. This is Kaleidoscope, for those that don't know. So Kaleidoscope is a bioacoustic analysis software by Wildlife Acoustics. And it's pretty great if you're a bit new to the world, like I am, to the world of bat detecting, bat identification and all that, because, you can use it for free. The Lite version is free, and the Pro version has, you need to pay for that, but you get a couple of nice things like cluster analysis, you get auto ID for bats and stuff like that. But basically, before we go into the whole sound design thing, I just thought it'd be great if we can just see how to analyze. And disclaimer here, I'm definitely not an expert. I'm just learning this as I go. So do take whatever you hear here with a grain of salt. But for us artistic sonic nerds, it might be interesting, and it's gonna give you a bit of a jumping off point what to look at when you get when you record your files that are in full spectrum and looking at the ultrasonic stuff. So there's different things. So let's say, for example, firstly what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to our little disk here, and we're gonna go to raw, and we're gonna go to Sava, and I'm just gonna choose the things that I took from using the Echo Meter Touch 2 from Wildlife Acoustics. So the first things that I want to do here is basically I'm just gonna create some zero cross files, and this is basically a special file that's gonna create special files. They're not audio, but they are just a graphical representation of that audio. So I think this was developed by Tutley, the guys that do Anabat, bat detectors and stuff like that. And a good thing here is that they're very, very small files, so you can send them around. And I'm just going to process this, and I'm going to send those files to the good people at the local bat group, just so they have it in their archive if they ever need it. But for us, we don't really need zero crossing files because we want to listen to and stuff like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to open up, and this is the same EMT session, and I'm just going to press on the first file, and this is going to open up the whole folder here. So if I open it up, it's going to give me this little window here. So what we have here is basically two things. We have a spectrogram here, that's the frequency representation of a call, and then we have the waveform view here. And this is basically cool if you want to look at the shape of the call and try to determine what the species was based on that. Now, because if you're using Echo Meter Touch 2, which has an auto ID function, sometimes it will auto ID quite correctly, but at times you're gonna need basically, let's say, manual identification of said species. So what we have here is that we have some nice little calls that go into this little bumpy L shapes here, and these are around, as you can see here, 53, 54, more or less, maybe even 55 ballpark. So if you want to take a closer look, you can just, drag that and just go zoom to fit, and it's gonna fit right that. Or you can use the plus button on your keyboard, and it's basically gonna give you a little representation. So going by this, I can just identify this as a pipistrelle, because it looks like a pipistrelle. You can also play the, oh Jesus Christ, that was loud, man. That wasn't supposed to happen. You can play them like with, I'm using, if we go to normal, this is the normal speed, but we can slow it down. I usually go with time expansion mode for 20, and I listen to the little bats. So these are all little calls here, but there are a couple of bats here, and I can see that there was no identification because, like I said, Ecometer Touch 2 has its own identification. Now, looking at this, so what is this? You might be asking yourself. This is the zero crossing representation. So if I turn down the file, I can see basically how it looks. And these, the things that I did before with the zero crossing, I just took that, created these kind of files, which are just the graphical representations that are going to give the local bat experts a good view of what the echolocations call were, and therefore, better yet, in identification. Plus, it doesn't clog up their computers too much because it's, like I said, the file is very small. So yeah, so we have that. Because like we saw before, we had a whole folder. The good things that we can do here is basically we can go through all of our files here. So like we see here, we see something that might be interesting. So we have some calls that are here in this part, and these are very low, as you can see. So if I zoom here, I can see that these are the usual nocturnal bat calls. As you can see, there's one higher, one lower, one higher, lower, higher, lower. So I usually see the nocturnal as, and I don't know if this is maybe a lesser nocturnal or maybe a Nyctalus nocturnal, so a common nocturnal. But I do see that it's a nocturnal species because it does have that like little submarine sonar thing here. So if we listen to this, ooh, those are some social calls you can hear. And in the background, you can hear like this little da-da-da-da-da-da. Those, I believe, are just social calls. Now, if we move up here, look at this. We do have something around the 75. And let's just look at this call shape a bit better. So if we're zooming in, let's just zoom in into this. Zoom as much as possible, and let's try to squish it so we're still getting those little bumps here. So I'm thinking this might be a normal soprano pipistrelle, probably. And I'm pretty sure that this could be the same thing. So again, so as I understand it, if they do have that little bump, right, like a little, this shape that kind of goes beam, and these are quite distinctive for the pipistrelles, as I believe. Like I said, I'm not an expert. I'm an artist that's trying to, cheat my way through art by using animal sounds and being all like that. Also, if you can look at this, you can see the echoes here, so you can hear that. Also, there was a, as I understand it, I think there was a cool little thing here, and this is a cool thing. So this is called a feeding buzz. So as the bat sees a lovely, tasty insect, what it's gonna do is gonna target in, and it's gonna create it's gonna wrap it up its own calls. And with this, you're gonna get some really cool sounds, such as this. So you got your echolocation, nothing spectacular. But then, oh, I see a little insect. So we can boost the signal up a bit. Let me just try here. Yeah, so you can use that as, let's say, if we use 10. It's fun. It's always fun. Another cool thing that I should say with the Kaleidoscope is that you can filter out pretty easily. So let's say if we wanna touch upon only on this range of frequencies, we can just, you know, drag and drop, and it's gonna, I mean, drag the whole thing here at a frequency, and it's gonna just focus on this particular band of frequencies here. So yeah, that's cool. That's all fine and dandy. Now let's try to see if we can find our the Benton's bad, because we did try to see that. And this is all, you know, as you can see here, the identification here is basically targeting that this is a noctule, so a common noctule here. So it might be quite a good auto ID here, because I do see that it's a noctule. Okay, so if we go a bit more to see what's gonna happen. So these are a couple of pipistrelles there. As you can see, so it's only identified this, it didn't identify this, but you know, looking at this, we have a soprano pipistrelle, and now here probably a common or a Coles pipistrelle here. I'm thinking. However, there was I do believe we had a Benton's bat. Yeah, there we go. Possible M. Deventoni. Well, here it is. Look at this. Look at this absolutely mess of a waveform here. So what do we have here? So as you can see, look, if I zoom here and if I get this, there's this bump, right? So I'm thinking, okay, this must be probably a soprano pipistrelle and a noctule over here. But if I go here where now this calls start happening, look at this. You see those like little laser sounds that this thing creates. These are, I believe, the myotis species. The growl here is just the very bottom of the frequency spectrum. It's just probably me talking overhead, and it's just because it's so slow, it just creates this sound. But whatever, let's focus now on this, because I really want to know about my dub and Tony. Okay, it's quite cool. It's quite nice. So let's take a look. Let's try to zoom in as much as possible. So we don't have that bump like we do here. It's going from roughly 94 to roughly, okay, let me see. So it's going from roughly maybe 85 to 20 with a max frequency where though? So this could be it. Oh yeah, I don't have that one. But let's say a maximum frequency there. So I'm guessing, let me just let me see. This is my cheat sheet for the bats of Slovenia. Let me just say the Benton's bat. There we go. Myotis de Bentoni. So it's an FM, yeah, of 40. So it's going from 81 to 94. The start frequency and frequency, and then we have peak at 47. So 47, I'm guessing the peak is here. It's going from roughly around 80 here to 24. So I'm guessing this might be a the Benton's bat. You know, I could be wrong, obviously, but this might be. So anyways, if I want to take this, what I can do is, let's say that I really like this, I can just easily capture this, go to here, go to file, and then save the wave file. Save as, and I can use here, and I can say do Benton. or whatever, and I have this file with this setting here playing. So yeah, that's it when it comes to identification. Hopefully you learned something either than that, and you know, might be cool to see what we can do with these files in the future. We're here in Logic. And the thing is, I just prepared a few of the bat calls that were recorded in a different location, but most of those were from the previous episode, so from the Sava River trip that we did. And these are just a couple of denoised, quite a bit stretched sound files here. So we have something that went from full spectrum recording, such as these mixed bats here. So these are slowed down quite a bit. And as you can hear, we can hear, I believe those are like soprano pipistrelles, echolocations with an occasional noctule at the bottom there. So yeah, so this is one little audio file that we're gonna use that hopefully will bear good results. And then I had a couple of noctule bats here. And even though, you know, I used those mic boosters, ultrasonic microphones, that were good enough, but as soon as you boost the signal quite a bit, you know, you're gonna get some river background there. You're gonna get some of those. So you can denoise them a bit through RX or any other more denoising type software. But, you know, me not being an expert, this is the most that I managed. So yeah. And then I did include a couple of social calls. So these are pipistrelle sopranos social calls, I believe. And as you can hear that, you know. And these are basically, you know, there's different, I'm not an expert on social calls. There, you know, also I'm not an expert on bat calls whatsoever. But I believe, as I was reading this and as I am reading this, these are not echolocations. So you can hear a bit of echolocation at the background, but these are basically either advertisement calls, you know, for mates, or antagonistic calls for like territory disputes, or let's say more, you know, let's say pipistrelles being very territorial in order to either capture mates and stuff like that. Okay, and then I have a couple of heterodyne detections here. So this is the myotis, the Benton myotis, or the Benton's bat here. Here is another the Benton's bat. And quite a bit of me moving around as well. But you know, might be good, might be quite great. Then we have another pipistrelle coolie here. Haha, awesome. Awesome. So these were all recorded for the heterodyne detection from, you know, the Eloquent Bat Scanner Stereo. You know, a bit of denoising here and there, added a bit of compression as well, just to, you know, really push out those lovely claps. But, you know, these are this. And the last three, the pink ones here, these are quite cool. These are actually lesser horseshoe bats. So, I went probably 2 weeks ago. I went to this church near my town that supposed roosts of lesser horseshoe bats are to be found, and indeed I have used the usual crouch and the hedgerow method, and they sound absolutely lovely because they sound like little spooky ghosts just going like this. So the way how this sounds very different from this is basically what type of call they use, because like let's say pipistrelles, they use your usual FM quasi constant frequency, you know, they kind of go through that and they create this little claps. But with lesser horseshoe bats, because of the shape of their lovely nose, they use constant frequencies. And, you know, if you listen to those in time expansion, they're not particularly interesting. You know, it's just like a constant frequency. But, you know, using that with a heteroline detection, because it's going on so quickly and because the lesser horseshoe bats is basically using Doppler shifts as its means of locating its prey and its environment, it creates this lovely little, you know, like little lovely spaceship ghost thing. So we're gonna use this as well. We're gonna use this. If you want to know more about how these lovely bats create these kind of sounds, you know, I talked to Mark Ferguson on the latest episode of In Convo With, which he basically explains how these bats use Doppler shifts for the means of echolocating. So anyways, this is this. Hopefully this will be good. And we're gonna go to norns, where we're gonna, you know, try to create some lovely sound design. So see you there. So now that we're back, another challenge here is basically to use just norns as our primary sound design machine. And I just figured it'd be a great little challenge, because norns is quite great with sound design. It's quite capable, really depending on the script, but you know, it has so much lovely scripts that I just thought, you know, it could be doable if we can just focus our attention to a few here. And one of those is called GLACIERS. Now, we got an actual call, and that's quite, you know, lovely and a bit longer than, you know, the chirps that we hear from pipistrelles and whatnot. But in order to get the drony little, you know, VST type synth sound that we want to get, or at least I want to get, I figured a cool little thing could be using GLACIERS. Now, for those that don't know, GLACIERS is like a, I'm gonna say, it's very similar to pulse stretch. And I don't know if you guys know, but pulse stretch is a lovely little app for your computer that you can record or you can load up, you know, your files, and it will stretch the hell out of those. And the same thing can be done via norns, via GLACIERS. So first things first, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna load a file. Now, one thing that I figured out, and I'm kind of embarrassed that it took me so long, but if you wanna, let's say if you have like loads of files and you wanna audition them, what you just need to do is just like move the encoder free. And you get lovely sounds from that. Okay, so let's just try and load up an instrument, or not an instrument, but a bat call that we have recorded. So this is a normal noctral that was already time stretched quite a bit in the processing area. But, you know, now it sounds something like this. So if we figure out, so this is, let's say, the original file. But we can stretch it as much as we want. And I like to use it somewhere around 25. And it just becomes spooky. And if we want to make it a bit more spooky, we can add a harmonics to our mix. And that's quite cool. So what we can do now is I'm just gonna go here and I'm just gonna record. So I'm starting with tape 16. Click record here and it's now recording. And maybe we can use such call. It's always the anticipation. So if you move, oh, there it is again. And we can use that sound. The levels are okay. So what we can do here is basically load up a new file, and I'm gonna take this very short social call. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna move this down. So I'm gonna first hear how the original is gonna sound, and I'm gonna gradually stretch it out. Okay, so let's say, for example, if we just let this ring out for a minute and then open up. So this is a pipistrelle soprano social call. So not at echolocation, there's some echolocation in the background, but it's this pedo thing that I'm interested in. And let's try to stretch it as we did with the nocturnal. Ooh. It sounds like a haunting train call or train siren just somewhere in the distance. And what else you can do is basically you can change the position. So let's see, can we do spread? No, that's just the LFO spread. So what we can try also to do is move this way to the left and then go here. We're gonna put this way to the right and ooh, does it filter as well? Okay, we don't need filter for now. So this position should be, oh yeah, like this. Oops. And then maybe do it a bit. So maybe this could be quite interesting to sample. Oh, nice. All right, so we got a few of these that are quite nice. And what else we can do is, we got our notes, right? We got our notes, but let's try also to use a bit less of a hardcore granular stuff, and let's just, well, not granular, but like stretchy stuff, and let's just use granular now. And what I'm gonna do is maybe I'm just gonna go and use GRAINTOPIA for this one, and let's just see what we can do. Maybe we can make a little drone or something like that. So K2, we got audio, we got our bats, we got full spectrum, and let's just see what could we do if we just use, what's this mixed one? Okay, so these are little chirps. Okay, this could be interesting. Let's just see. And let's just try to, so this is just, let's just try to make it as short as possible. Okay, this could be interesting. Let's go here. Another recording. Let's start it up. What else we can do is basically if we go to the parameters here, maybe we can do a little bit smaller. So something like that. And then you have tuning, which is gonna be hell when we're trying to make it a key instrument. Now let's just move. Okay, this is interesting. This could be interesting. Okay, next thing that we can do is basically, can we move here? Yeah, let's add another one. Let's again try to add a little noctule here. And maybe this waveform here is gonna be interesting. Ooh. Haha. Okay, so this is our noctule. It sounds quite nice, it's quite okay. But another thing that we could do here is basically just go to maybe change the audio and try with our little horseshoe bats. Oh, that's so cute. So horseshoe bats are quite great. If you have seen the In Convo with Mark Ferguson, he basically explains how this pretty unique bat species creates sound and uses Doppler shifts as a mean of trying to locate its prey. Haha, alright. Cool. Okay, so we got something. It's quite alright. It's quite good. I think it's enough of this. And I think we have enough of this. Now, one thing that we can try is, we can try also just, you know, using the cheat code that is barcode and just throw stuff here. Because I think that'd be basically the best way of doing it. So I'm gonna use the same. I'm just gonna use a little... I'm just gonna use this because maybe we can use this as a background. We can also use a little pipistrelle coolie. So this could be great for like a little background noises. As you can see, it's quite... Wow. Oh man, I love barcode. You just throw anything there and it's immediately the most impressive thing. Maybe we can also use DELAR. Now, you know, we can create loops in many different ways on the norns. You know, you have your cheat codes. That's quite a great experimental. You can do like MLRE. You can basically do whatever. But one of these is quite significant because it doesn't use really tempo mapping of any sorts. It's just kind of like the more you have it, the more it's gonna, you know, it's gonna be either faster or slower if it's gonna use it like this. So what we can do is we can go here, we can basically go to sample, and we can use like a heterodyne bad detection. So I'm just gonna use like maybe we can try with an actual and the Benton's bad. And as you can see, it just started, you know, looping here. So that's quite cool. If I add another one here, and then you just play. And whatever happens, maybe we just... Okay, nothing here, maybe here. Ooh, that's cool. Maybe here. And you have like this little rolling type of thing. That's quite cool. Okay, maybe we can just start, you know, recording, seeing what happens, whatever. We got it, it's beautiful. The one thing that we can do is, if we move here, maybe we can, so the rate changes a bit. And now we have another, we changed the timbre of this particular loop. And you can do, you know, with length, with level, with attack, whatever you wish. It's basically how much, what's the possibility of this, you know, changing. So that's quite cool. Okay. Maybe we can try another sample. Maybe we can use a pipka. And let's just put it here. Well, that's quite, it's galloping. And I think if you move like K2, it's gonna move the whole thing. And this is also really great, like if you want to do some generative, what's it called? Some more generative sample mangling stuff. It's quite great because, you know, you can do so much. This is messy, that's gonna be messy. We're gonna create mess, it's gonna be very fun, very fun. But yeah, either way, I think we got, you know, for the purpose or for the demonstration, enough material to basically move whatever we recorded back to the computer and then use that there and try to create something. So let's try to do this then. Alright, so here I be in Logic back again, and I have moved the files from norns into the computer, and then threw a couple of these files in. You know, I added them a bit just, you know, to see the interesting parts. And the thing is, we're gonna try something here. And one of the things is that we have these lovely tone from the Glacier. So an idea here is, because we have such a prolonged little audio file here, why not try to do a little sampler instrument? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna be a very basic boy, and I'm gonna use the basic sampler here that we have. So this is Logic's, but you know, you can use whatever. I'm sure Ableton has a much nicer one. I'm sure Fruity Loops has something else. I'm sure Cubase or whatever has whatever. You know, it's basically very, you know, very self-evident. Basically, you just open up, you want to put these in. So let's say, for example, I think this is somewhere around A. So if you push this in, you can do the usual shtick where, you know, you can just try to create a couple of octaves just by moving them around. So I'm gonna tune to -12 here, and then I'm gonna go a bit more. I'm gonna tune this to -24. And then if I do this, if I just go to envelope and create a lovely crescendo there. So I'm just gonna press the keyboard. Ooh, that's nice. Let's just become the ultimate ambient artist and throw a shit ton of, you know, very, very big reverbs. So you can create a very, very spooky, you know, October's coming up quite quickly, so here we're just gonna call this something that's not that good, but whatever. Okay, let's see what else we got in GRAINTOPIA. So we can do the same thing with that. And there's a rhythmic element. So what I like to do with stuff that's rhythmic is that I like to, oh, sorry, not that, but what I wanted to do was create another software instrument. And then maybe throw this and just be basic as possible. I'm gonna throw this and I'm gonna say this is gonna be A. It's not A, but you know, bear with me. You know, I'm gonna try something here. And up, yeah, and up, yeah. And just go here, -12, -24, and let's just try it out. What else do we have here? Yes, okay. I'm improvising now, so you know, don't come judging. Don't do it. Okay, let's throw this out. This is all absolute rubbish. But what if we just like, what if we were to create something that was actually good? And let's just move this down. Let's move like this and did I do good? No. Wow, this was something. Is there a way to make this you know, a bit better? And it's gonna be passable. It's not gonna be the most amazing thing you ever saw, but you know. It could be like this little organ, right? So we can maybe create a little organ. Yeah, this we can improvise with this, I think. Okay. You know, let's just be the usual. Let's just be very usual with our ambient ambiguity and use a bit of shimmer verb just to add to the spooky vibes. Now that's more like it, right? All right, cool. So we have this, and so this is the good one. But what else we can do is, because we do have some of these, you know, atmospheres. So there's one thing that I really like to do is basically taking this and sending this to here, and then using a thing that's called sound goes texturize. There we go. Bam. Sound goes texturize. So there we go. So basically what this does is this takes, there are different, you know, sound elements or whatnot, and these basically add texture to your stuff. So this could be great, but what I want to do is I want to put my own in, right? So what I can do is I can import breathing bats, and let's just, for example, if you use any sort of slaps from pipistrelles, so this could be interesting. So you put it like this. They add this. And you can basically choose which part do you want it. So let's say that we want this part. And we're gonna put a bit of reverb in this because it's very, very dry. So another supermassive, and we're gonna use maybe just a medium white, so a bit of a bright room. Let's see. Ooh, this could be cool. It's like Silent Hill, but with bats, right? Ah, spooky. Okay, that's cool. That's cool and all, but maybe we can use like this atmosphere here, or... Ooh, this could be awesome. So let me just try to use this one. So I go here, I go to import. What? Not the bad what? Oh, it's bad instruments there. And you can control the volume. You can control how the attack and release. So this could be quite calm. So there you go. I hope this was interesting. It was just, you know, trying to have fun with it. You know, so that was it. Hope you had fun. Let me just, you know, move you back to the other guy who's gonna do the conclusion to this Batman. So see you later, alligator. So yeah, there you go, a conclusion to the Bat Month, and I hope it's been fun for y'all viewing this content, as it has been fun for me, running around like a crazy person with a bat detector. If you like the sounds that we have been recording and manipulating throughout this mini-series, I have prepared a little sample library that is available on my Patreon. So you can go there to support me and get, you know, the usual exclusive access to content and sample libraries that are gonna be released on a monthly basis. Also, don't forget to give this thing a thumb up, subscribe, you know, put a comment, write a comment, be like, hey guy, I enjoy your content, that'd be grand. But you know, only if you really want to. But most importantly, and this is very important, do have a great rest of your evening, morning, afternoon, whenever you might be watching, and I'll see you next time. So take